News: the royal family just attacked by Al Waisman for freedomdaily.com. Oh my God, people, the world is going to end. The soon to be princess of snowflakes has been offended. Princess Michael of Kent, who is known as Princess Pushy for her snooty mannerisms and who is Queen Elizabeth's first cousin, had some explaining to do after she showed up wearing a brooch on her lapel, which many are calling racist. And to think this all happened at a party which Prince Harry's future wife, Meghan Markle, was in attendance. How dare she? You gotta laugh too. The Christmas lunch, which was hosted by the Queen on Wednesday and, of course, paid for by the tax paid by the British people, was the first major event in for Markle, who is part African American, to meet and greet with the extended royal family. The 72-year-old first cousin of the Queen of England was quickly called out for sporting a brooch in a black amour style, in which she later insisted she meant no harm by. The brooch is a black amour art and jewelry which is said to romanticize slavery and is considered racially insensitive by today's standards of upsetting delicate snowflakes. The brooch worn by the princess featured a black figure donning a gold headdress and robe. Now, keep in mind, this is the same family who is related to that funny-looking inbred Prince Charles, the same prince who has on multiple occasions attacked the state of Israel. The same one that on November 24th, 1986, wrote a letter to a friend after a visit to the Gulf with Princess Diana, in which he wrote that he now had a greater insight to the Arabs' hostility towards Israel via the Times of Israel. Influx of European Jews has helped cause great problems. In 1986 letter, Prince Charles blamed foreign Jews for Mideast turmoil. In correspondence to a friend, the heir to the throne also lamented the unwillingness of U.S. presidents to take on the Jewish lobby. In a newly revealed letter from 1986, the UK's Prince Charles implied that the influx of foreign European Jews to Israel was to blame for fueling the Israeli-Arab conflict, and lamented that U.S. presidents were unwilling to take on the American Jewish lobby. The November 24th, 1986 letter was written to a friend, explorer Lawrence van der Post, after a visit to the Gulf with Princess Diana. It was published by the Mail on Sunday. Charles wrote that he now had a greater insight to Arabs' hostility towards Israel following the trip. Also, begin to understand their point of view about Israel, never realized they see it as a U.S. colony, he wrote. I now appreciate that Arabs and Jews were all a Semitic people originally, and it is the influx of foreign European Jews, especially from Poland, they say, which has helped cause great problems. Dear Lawrence, am on way to Cyprus and Italy, having passed through Suez Canal, lovely having 3 days at sea. This tour has been fascinating and have learned a lot about Middle East and Arab outlook. Tried to read bit of Quran on way out, and it gave me some insight into the way they think and operate. Don't think they could understand us through reading Bible, though. Much admire some aspects of Islam, especially accent on hospitality and accessibility of rulers. Also begin to understand their point of view about Israel. Never realized they see it as a U.S. colony. I now appreciate that Arabs and Jews were all a Semitic people originally, and it is the influx of foreign European Jews, especially from Poland, they say, which has helped to cause great problems. I know there are many complex issues, but how can there ever be an end to terrorism unless the causes are eliminated. Surely some U.S. president has to have the courage to stand up and take on the Jewish lobby in U.S.? I must be naive, I suppose. Charles, who was 38 at the time, then suggested the immigration of Jews to the land of Israel was a root cause of terrorism that needed to be addressed. I know there are so many complex issues, but how can there ever be an end to terrorism unless the causes are eliminated, he wrote. It was not clear from the letter whether he was referring to European Jews immigrating to Israel before or after the Holocaust and the country's establishment in 1948. Charles also wrote he hoped a U.S. president would take on the Jewish lobby, presumably in order to solve the Israeli-Arab conflict. Surely some U.S. president has to have the courage to stand up and take on the Jewish lobby in U.S., wrote Charles. I must be naive, I suppose. Following the publication of the letter, the editor of the Jewish Chronicle Weekly called its content jaw-droppingly shocking and criticized the prince's use of the term Jewish lobby. To me, this is the most astonishing element of the prince's letter. The Jewish lobby is one of the anti-Semitic themes that have endured for centuries. It is this myth there are these very powerful Jews who control foreign policy or the media or banks or whatever, the Mail quoted Stephen Pollard as saying. Pollard also said the views in the letter expressed by Charles were the absolute classic Arabic explanation of the problem in the Middle East. And it is what everyone has always said. The British aristocracy actually thinks the idea that Jews were some kind of foreigners who had no place in Israel until we decided to make it their homeland, said Pollard. Historically, it is nonsense, and it's quite stunning when it comes from the heir to the throne. A spokeswoman for Prince Charles said the letter was not reflective of his views, but only relaying arguments he encountered during his trip. He was sharing the arguments in private correspondence with a long-standing friend in an attempt to improve his understanding of what he has always recognized is a deeply complex issue to which he was coming early on in his own analysis in 1986, the spokeswoman said. She also said Prince Charles had continued his study of the complex and difficult themes he referenced here and defended his proven track record of support for both Jewish and Arab communities around the world and promotion of interfaith dialogue. President Reuven Rivlin in March publicly extended an invitation to Prince Charles to visit Israel during the centennial year of the 1917 signing of the Balfour Declaration, although UK media reports said the prince would not visit the Jewish state in 2017. Though never officially confirmed by London or Jerusalem, a senior British Jewish community leader told the Times of Israel last November that plans were underway for a member of the royal family to visit Israel for the first time. According to the Sun tabloid, the Royal Visits Committee, the branch of the Foreign Office that coordinates trips on behalf of the royal family, nixed the visit in an apparent effort to avoid upsetting Arab nations in the region who regularly host UK royals. No British royal has ever made an official visit to Israel. The report said Rivlin's invitation never reached the office of Prince Charles. While royals have visited Israel in the past, no representative of the British monarchy has ever come to the country on an official royal tour. Prince Charles's attendance at Shimon Peres's funeral last year and the funeral of slain Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 1994 did not include diplomatic meetings and are not considered official royal visits, nor was a brief 1994 visit by his father, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, to attend a ceremony commemorating his mother, Alice Battenberger, or Battenberg, who is buried in Jerusalem's Mount of Olives. Despite numerous invitations over the years, no UK government has approved such a visit to Israel since the end of the British Mandate and the establishment of the state in 1948. Israeli officials have bristled at royals' unwillingness to come to the Jewish state, while they appear to have no qualms about visiting authoritarian states like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Times of Israel staff contributed to this report. Hey, inbred, the Jews aren't the ones who are attacking people in London on a daily basis. That's right. But we know the drill. People need to watch their every step around minorities, but in the case of the Jews, that's okay. The hate can flourish all at once. Please share if you agree the snowflake culture needs to end. Yeah, they're destroying England. And yet here you have this idiot talking about the Jewish people. I mean, really? I don't see Jewish people doing what the others are doing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.